So as we're all in a bit of state of flux at the moment with more restrictions, feeling locked down and held back, let's do something about that with our physical body and ourselves. So today we're going to look at tabletop, the all fours position, and how that can be expanded to create a little bit of heat, a little bit more work, and also release tension. As we're going to be releasing and opening up the hips today, the hips are an emotional part of the body, whether you realise that or not. And our emotions take hold and grip us without us even knowing. So we might make up and feel very tight one day and not understand why. And that could be down to emotional stress or tension that we don't even know we're holding. So by opening and releasing the hips, we can relieve some of that tension and remove some of that stress. And if we don't, we end up feeling tight, sore, uncomfortable, even angry and frustrated through the emotions that are being held back. So let's go back to tabletop and let's familiarise ourselves with exactly what we're talking about. So back to all fours. So wrists underneath shoulders, hands open like stars, so we have a nice, steady, secure base, and ever so slightly grip the mat, just a touch, to relieve the pressure of the wrists. By gripping with our fingertips, we release the palm off the mat, and it takes the pressure off the base of our wrist, so we don't get tired, sore, painful wrists by being in this position for too long. Once we've got our hands sorted, let's look at our knees. Knees directly under the hips, not angled forward, not too angled back. Now, if anybody has a tender kneecap, you can very, very simply get a folded blanket or towel, put it under the knees, or even double over your mat. It's not a problem. Make sure that you are in comfortable starting positions before you even do anything. So to warm up, we're going to do a couple of small things to begin with. So, toes can be tucked or flat, whatever you feel gives you more security in your balance. You may feel that with your foot flat on the floor, you can push into that shin and feel more stable. Go for it. Try whatever works for you. So we're going to lift the right knee up and we're going to very simply circle it. With our breath, breathing in as we circle up, breathing out as we circle out. And that's a really simple hip rotation that just starts softening the muscles. And we're not just talking about the hip muscle here. We're not just talking about that. We're talking about the gluteus as well, the bum. There is an incredible amount of muscle there that holds tension, feeds up to the hip and into the lower of the back. And by softening all of this, we can start easing any tension we're holding here. So once we do it in a clockwise direction, we do it in the anti-clockwise direction. Let's always make sure there is balance whenever we move, whether it's in one direction or the other. Let's do the same rotation. So once we've done the right side, we're going to move to the left. So let's swap round so you can see that. So let's bring our knee up and again clockwise, in with our breath and round with our out breath. And you can take these circles as fast or as slow as you feel. They don't have to be quick. In fact, the slower you take them, the better it is to relieve tightness and just to start limbering up and warming the body. So let's rotate in the anti-clockwise direction. And you may start feeling this already. Then come to still. So once we have warmed up and started our hip circles, we're going to do a few leg circles that are just going to give an extra bit of opening too. So let's move back round again. So once we've got our secure base, let's realign ourselves. We're going to extend the leg out. Foot can be flat or pointed away, but let's make sure we're not overextending the groin and through the inner thigh, because you don't want to feel any pain there at all. So we're going to do a very simple thing. We're going to come up onto the toe. Breathing in, we're going to sweep round. Breathing out, we're going to come back. Breathing in, sweeping round. Breathing out, sweeping back. And while we're doing this, make sure you're not leaning over and pushing that hip up and causing any issues with the pelvis. Keep the pelvis nice and neutral by pushing into the hands, keeping the hands firm and keeping them grounded. Stop you leaning over. It will also prevent any tense muscle in the throat and the neck while you're keeping your shoulders nice and straight. So let's take another sweep. And you can start increasing the size of your sweep, the warmer you feel. And this can be however you want it to be and however you feel on that day. And by doing this, very simply, it's a really great and effective hip warmer without doing too much at all, without too much strain or any pressure on the body. So swapping round, making sure we create our balance, extending our left foot out, sweeping round and sweeping back. Always with the breath, keeping the blood and the body oxygenated so we can keep up, we can focus and we can feel good as we move. So coming back, if you need to take a breath, take a breath. Take a breath whenever you need. There's no competition. You're working with yourself, not the ego. So, let's have a look at two more things. And now, the next one, slightly challenging. Definitely going to get you warm. So on these cold days, definitely going to keep your temperature up. So as we've just done the leg sweeps, we're now going to do the leg raises. And yes, this is going to burn ever so slightly. If you feel your stability needs an extra bit of push, curl the toes under. You might feel that does the trick. So we can lift up and lift down. Lift up and lift down. Again, making sure that we are not tipping over to the side to cause any hip and pelvis problems. And don't worry about how high you do this. It may only be just there, but you are still creating a similar effect to going all the way up. The only thing is, don't hyperextend and go higher. You do not need to go higher than the hip, is when aggravation and problems start. So, other side again, always keeping balance. That one will definitely give you a little bit of a burn, but what it will also do is help create some tone and muscle around the hip and gluteus that will give strength as well. So taking a breath in, and we rise, out and down, up and down, up and down. And the foot can be flexed or pointed, whatever's comfortable for you. Up and down, up and down. Do as many as you feel. You may feel you're doing two and that's plenty. That's fine. Don't worry. Okay. All that is preparation for this next pose. The next one is called Tiger's Tail. So it's an evolution from Tabletop, and it again can evolve into 2 or 3 further poses or asanas. So let's look at it. Tiger's Tail requires our strength in our hands and our groundedness, our knees and our shins to be secure, our muscles to be warmed up, and a little bit of focus. So let's just show you the first part of it. Raising the leg behind us. And that's that. And you will feel as the leg raises behind you, you're pushing into the ground more. Try not to over reach. Make sure that wrist is definitely below the shoulder, not back either. So you keep your all fours pointed foundation. So once we have our Tiger's Tail, see how you feel about that. See if you can feel anything working. You definitely will. And if you want to try going that little bit stronger, you can very gently raise that left arm up towards you, horizontally. Now you will definitely feel an opposition of the body working. You will feel the stomach switching on, the core working, which will warm you right up. If that is not possible, hand gently above the floor to build your confidence. Or you can just try raising the arm first and see how you feel. Take your time and build yourself up. And then we're going to swap sides. So again, extend the left leg out. Foot can be flexed or pointed. No difference, it's a personal preference. Don't tighten the glute too high. That will add tension to the lower back instead of activating the muscles there that need to keep you nice and strong. So once your foot is engaged and your leg, if you're feeling strong, raise your arm. Point through it and feel like you're being pulled in both directions. Feel like there's a string on the hand and the foot, they're pulling you. As you reach forward, you'll feel that core engaging once more. And if that is too much again, try the hand floating above the floor, or just the leg, or just the arm. And whenever we're moving into any position that requires focus, there are two things that are key. Our breath, listening to our breath breathing in and breathing out, creates a rhythm. It gives our mind a focus. There is also another thing called a drishti, which is a focus point. It can be something in front of you. It could be a little mark on the carpet. It could be your yoga block by you. Draw your attention to your drishti that helps you keep distraction away, lets you listen to your breath, lets you focus on what you're trying at that moment. And you can apply that in any part of the life that's not just yoga. Give yourself a drishti to help your focus when you need one. I hope you have fun, and if you fall, you can still get up. Enjoy that, keep warm, keep well.